These last weeks and days have really been marked by a sense of uncertainty, of just not knowing how the future is going to unfold and how it's going to impact and the consequences for all of us, both on an economic and social level and a spiritual level. We call these times liminal times, because a liminal time is a time which is marked by deep uncertainty, a kind of moving from one place and not having quite arrived at the new place. So we're in between kind of stages, liminal. So in this time of liminality that we're living in now, it's a time where we're invited to become practiced and become comfortable in not knowing, in being on the periphery, not having to have everything sorted, being comfortable with it, so it becomes just a part of who we are. For this to emerge in our lives, for this degree of comfort regarding living in these liminal times, means we have to put aside our need to blame others, to find a point of blame, to find a narrative where we can understand it by accusation, to put this need to one side. We don't need it. Secondly, we need to become practiced at owning really what is in front of us, naming it, not running away from it, but acknowledging the fear, acknowledging the terror of it at some points, just acknowledging really what is right in front of us, looking it in the eye. It's naming what is in front of us, is naming both what is the big picture on the big landscape, the global, but also naming what is really local, what is right in front of me. Getting practiced in just naming that in the midst of the anxiety of the big picture. Now in John's Gospel chapter 10, Jesus says of himself that he is the gate, he is the gateway, and he calls each of us by name, and the sheep hear his voice and they follow. Now you see, when we are really comfortable about being in these liminal times, living in liminality, in the uncertainty, we become those people who are much more able to hear the voice of heaven, to hear our names being called. We become just much more open. The channels of communication are much clearer when we are comfortable in this uncertainty. Because see, when we're not, when we're always resisting it, everything is just so noisy in us. There's almost always so much to achieve, so much to do that we never hear. We never hear the voice. We never really know where the gate is. And so we miss it. Or we end up just going round in circles, making the same mistakes over and over again, going lots of places, but actually going nowhere. And Jesus, the Good Shepherd, calls us each by name to lead us through the gate. And in his words, he says, so we can find pasture. Pasture is just a lovely word which I think for me encompasses everything that is good. Finding a place where I can really be me, where there's space for me being me, where I can be owned and I can be loved, and I can pass that on to the people I'm with, the people I share life with. But I too then become a voice calling. I too become the one who opens the gate. I too become one who follows in the very ways of Jesus, so that others may find pasture. Maybe this is really the business of church. Perhaps we've missed it such a big time, but that's our business, to open the gate, to call people by name, so that they may find pasture, a place where they can be themselves without fear or accusation. You see, as we live life, we're forever shaping the landscape of our lives, both for ourselves and for others. We're shaping the landscape so we can find pasture. We can find that place where we can be who we're meant to be, where we can live with a confidence, where we're not going to be put down, or others are going to be put down. And so that is the responsibility of church in our society, of being the salt in our society, where people of all ages and all backgrounds, of all faiths, of all abilities, and of all giftings, can find a place where they can be really themselves, can find a place of confidence. So it doesn't have to be a violence in putting people down, in marking out one's own territory, but we can share it. In the words of Isaiah, the wolf can lie down with the lamb. It's a place of righteousness. It's a place which speaks of heaven. It's a place of the kingdom. And it's what we pray for in the prayer of the Our Father. Your kingdom come on earth as in heaven. And so Jesus is the gate into this landscape. He is the gateway into this pasture. He is the one who is calling us, forever calling us, to make it our journey. And the sheep, well, they hear and they follow. In John chapter 10, Jesus speaks of the reality that there are bandits out there who are doing the exact opposite from the work of the shepherd. The bandit is out there to divide the flock, to cause disarray, to bring dissension, so people do not find a spaciousness, but they find a constriction in life, where life is made narrow rather than wide. So it's important to be able to recognize these bandits, to discount their voices, even though the voices may be appealing, may be alluring, to discount them and to listen for the quieter voice, for the voice which is perhaps not as prominent, but the voice of the shepherd, which calls us and calls us by our name. So our daily practices of faith, such as giving thanks, giving praise for what is right in front of us, doing that over and over again during the course of each day, being somebody who prays for others, who asks for blessing on others, those whom we know really well and those whom we barely know. Being somebody who treats the mealtime as sacred, who blesses the food that we eat, and who honors the people we live with. These kind of practices enable us to be those who can live with a liminality, who can look at what is in front of us with an honesty, and who can hear the voice of the shepherd